Fine. Okay. All right. We are with Emily here today. Emily, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Glad to have you here. Now, I don't know if you can see it. I purposely wore my UK colors today because I knew you went to the University of Louisville. So does that aggravate you at all?
Well, I still got a little blue blood in me, so
Okay. I
we're
don't know if
good.
you remember my twins. One of them went to Kentucky and one of them went to Louisville, but they're both Kentucky
Oh,
fans. So
yes.
one of them still lives in Louisville, as a matter of fact.
I love the
So-
city of Louisville. It's
Oh yeah,
great.
I do too. I do too. I like it as a city. Why don't you just start out by telling us a little bit about your journey through your education, your career, how you decided to become a teacher.
I think I would trace it back to my love for gymnastics. I had some really
I
amazing
remember.
coaches. My favorite coach, her name is Lexia and I'll have to tag her in this. She just had an amazing impact on my life. And I started when I got to cheer in high school, we started to do little cheerleading camps and gymnastics camps. And I think that's when I realized how much I loved to work with children, how special it was, and also reminded me of just the impact the coaches and teachers have had in my own life. What an
Sure.
important job, to get to do something like that.
Remind me again, what grade do you teach now, or have you taught over the years?
Let's see. This will be going into my what is 12th year next year
Wow.
teaching. I taught first grade for 6 years, and then third grade for I guess this will be 6, like off and on. I've been in third grade. This will be my 4th year in third grade, writing, language arts, and spelling.
Okay. So even though you're elementary school, you don't have to teach every subject, correct?
No,
All right.
we're departmentalized at my school.
Okay. All right. So what made you switch from first grade to third grade, just out of curiosity?
Well, it really wasn't my choice. I actually,
Okay.
I love first grade. Love it. It probably is. It's one of the most rewarding grades just because that's when they learn to read. But I also love third
Sure.
grade. I switched school districts, and when I switched school
Okay.
districts, I got hired on as a third grade teacher.
That makes sense. All right. All right. You know, I admire you elementary school teachers so much because I've tried to teach elementary school and sometimes it just ain't happening. So I think middle school and high school is the niche I belong in. Let me ask you this. I know you from time to time see that students have favorite teachers. What do you think makes a student's favorite teacher their favorite?
That's a good question. Thinking about myself and my favorite teachers when I was younger, it was those who challenged me to be the best I could be. Those who I respected, who I had a relationship with that I also really respected, and I just knew that they had the best interest. My kids' TV gets getting louder and louder.
Oh, that's no problem at all. That's no problem at all. I can still barely hear it.
But I think just for myself, it was the ones who I knew were pushing me to be the best I can be. It wasn't necessarily the teachers that gave me an A. In fact, It was the ones that I had to work a little extra to get that A.
Sure.
Because they pushed me so much.
So it's not the ones that just show up. It's the ones that you can tell really care about the students.
Yes, and just, yes, definitely.
Yeah. What about, I assume you've had to have a substitute teacher here and there from time to time. What do you look for? Do you have your favorites? Do you have the same people that you call back a lot of time, or regardless of how you do it, what's the attributes of your favorite substitute teachers?
Oh, yes. I definitely have a couple that if I know that they are going to be in my room that day, I feel at ease. Like I know everything's going to get done. I don't have to worry about explaining everything. And it's really, I think it's a couple of things. If they've been in my room a few times, my children in my class feel comfortable with them. I know that they're taken care of. they're familiar with the routines that have been set in place, and they respect those routines. They don't try to do their own thing. They kind of respect that this is what's best for the kids, to stick to
Right.
what we normally do. And it's also those teachers that I can, the ones that like communicate with me when I'm
Yes.
finished, is very, very important. I just love when substitute teachers tell me how their day went, and even send me a message and say, hey, little Johnny had problems with this today, or we almost got to finish this, we didn't get to this. I appreciate that, because it shows me they really care, and that their day was not just like a paycheck for them, but it was like important, and they were happy to be in my classroom.
Right. That's a great answer. In fact, that was one of the other questions I was going to ask you is, what do you like to see from substitute teachers after you leave? And you've already answered that. So that's good. Let me ask you this. Sometimes I know as either teachers or substitute teachers, we accidentally say something that we can tell the kid might have interpreted as being disrespectful to them. What do you do when you realize that you've actually said something to a child accidentally that made them feel just a little bit different?
I apologize.
I do too. Good
yeah.
answer. Good answer.
I know.
You keep going if you want. Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I think that it's good to let them know that, adults mess up too, or sometimes we are too quick to speak when we should have maybe thought a little bit before we answered them, or things just come out the way we don't mean them to sometimes. I think it's okay to let them know that we're human, and that we make mistakes.
Right. How large are your classes in your district where you teach? How many students do you have at a time?
We had 3 groups that were departmentalized this year that we rotate between. So in the 3rd grade this past year, we had 69, I think, or 70 kids that I would see every day, but I would see, a third of them a day. So about 25, well, sometimes a little less, probably a little less, like 23, 25.
That's still that's a lot of students to try to give one-on-one attention to, isn't it?
It is, yes. But we are very blessed in our district to where we have just really great RTI in place where we get to, work in small groups and stuff. That's really helpful. I do miss that about being self-contained at sometimes.
Yes.
I miss having that small group time that we don't get as much the way we do it.
While we've all been in this quarantine, have you been able to interact with your students? Do you use Zoom for them, or do you use anything like that to try to interact with them?
We did. Where we live in the mountains, we live in Appalachia. Right. We were ready for this. We are made for quarantine because we not that we like it, but we were prepared just because we do have a lot of snow days. We've had to do snow packets many times, not for this long of a time, and I hope that we never have to do it like this again.
Yeah, for sure.
But we definitely already had things in place, and we already had like a Facebook page that we communicate with families in place, and that we used very frequently, and we were able to post assignments there. We did Zoom primarily to connect with the kids, just because we felt like they needed to see our face. They needed to be able to talk to us. We didn't necessarily this time do it to teach, which in the future that could be something that we will have to incorporate. That I hope not, but we might have to. We also use Google Classroom. I didn't, but my team did a lot more than me. It was really helpful for math and reading. And I think that if we have to do more in the future, I will do more on. I just need more. I feel like I need more training on the Google Classroom. But
who just joined us there?
This is Sawyer. Can you say hi? You think it's hi?
I'm going to guess that you're not quite school age yet.
He's not. I can't wait. We have a head start, so hopefully he can join us in a year or so.
Right, right. I've got 4 grandchildren now. One is just finished kindergarten. The other one has their 1-year-old birthday next month. And then I've got
Oh,
two grandsons that were born in February, 2 brothers. So they each had a baby within 3 days of each other. So, or their
oh,
wives did. Their
wow.
wives did. So I know the feeling. There's nothing like it. So uh, you were mentioning Google Classroom. Do you use that a lot while you're there, or do you ever leave assignments on that for your substitute teacher or anything like that? Or are your lessons plans more just handouts and that type of thing?
Um, that's a good question. I think in the future, I do. I just started using Google Classroom. I tried it out. We have like a day once a week where we do work on our Lexia programs. And that is
Right.
something that we've really pushed this year with Symphony Math and my class, Lexia. So they have to get a certain amount, like 60 minutes a week. And there
Okay.
have been times when the sub, since that was their normal Lexia day, has done that. We all have Chromebooks. We are not one-to-one in that we have all 70 kids at one time have it, but
Right.
on certain days in certain classes, they have it.
All
So
right.
every Tuesday was Lexia Day, and on those days, I would try to post a Google Classroom assignment, whether it be like a quiz over content we had been working on. But I think with me, it's just that I need to build my own confidence in Google Classroom. I've never
Sure.
been like, I was blessed to get to go to a training on it last year, and I think it's just something you got to keep on playing with yourself and learning it and to use it. So in the future, I would like to be able to do that for substitute teachers. I haven't yet beyond Lexia.
Are you familiar with the programs such as Kahoot or Quizlet?
Yes.
And do you ever use that at your grade level, or do you think that's too young or they're too young for that?
No, we have used it before. I haven't used
Okay.
it consistently just because we take turns, I guess, with the Chromebooks. But I know
Right.
our math teacher has used both of those a bunch. I think that I should use it more than I do.
Yeah, I'm actually, when I was long term in math 9 weeks last year, and I was a long term sub in history this last year, and I actually got to where I got certified on it. So I took all their tests to get certified in Kahoot. I'm talking about, and I actually
Yeah.
was using it to test the students. We would have our test on there. I would set the question time at about 2 minutes, and it was like graded as soon as the test was over, and they knew what they had scored too, because they knew how many they had missed already. So
That immediate feedback is so good.
yes,
Yeah.
I agree with that. Let me put you on the spot a little bit. You ready?
Oh gosh, I hope so.
Fill in the blank. Substitute teachers should be more what?
Yeah, that does put me on the spot.
I can tell you've had a lot of good substitute teachers.
I
Maybe,
have. I
yeah.
can't really complain too much. Let
Let
me see.
me ask it in a different way. It'll be easier to answer this way. Substitute teachers become students' favorites often. What are
Mhm.
the substitutes doing that makes them the students' favorites?
I think that they care. They show them they care, that they create a safe place for them while the regular teacher is away. And you've heard that cliche saying, they won't care what you know until they know that you care. And that
Oh, that's
really is
good.
true. Well, it
I've
really
heard it, but it's still good. It's still
It's
good.
still good. Yeah, I know that kids really, when they see that, hey, you're really there for them, you're really there to make sure they feel safe and loved and cared for, then they're gonna just thrive. You're gonna be their favorite
Right.
that way.
Good, good. Can you think of, do you have any stories about students that you thought were either particularly funny or particularly inspiring? Can you think of any stories specific? I see your face. I see your face smiling right now. Can you think of any stories? And don't give me any names, of course, but give me a student story that you still remember to this day.
Gosh, there's so many. Um, I can think of a couple right off that. One would be a child that just as soon as you asked that question, his face popped in my head. He, struggled, not particularly the best home life. We always worried that he had enough, food at home and
Sure.
new clothes to wear. But he was also a little bit different than the rest of the kids. He struggled a little bit. He was very smart, very intelligent, but he had a hard time communicating, especially in writing, and that's what I teach. And he, one day, something just clicked for him, and he was able. He had written a story about something that he really cared about, and before that, it was just really hard to motivate him, and so he just didn't like writing. He just didn't like it. He didn't want to do it. But once I went on, I saw that he was like really into this story, and I complimented him. I made a big deal out of it, I'm sure. And from that one compliment, I just watched him blossom, and he ended up loving writing. And it just reminded me that not to ever give up, or to ever think that some children will never love a certain subject or content area, because you never know what one little push or one little compliment how that could impact their life. And so I always think of him because he just got so excited about writing in his journal every day from that moment. And
that's a great story. Sometimes it's just the extra time, isn't it, that makes a student feel important. That's a great story. Do you have, with that in mind, since you're talking about kind of the ways you've picked up students, do you have any kind of reward system in place? Do you have anything that you like keep, whether it be candy or just things on a bulletin board? Do you have any kind of reward systems in place for your classes?
We definitely do, and that's a great question. And this also, I always try to share this with our substitute teachers. We use Class Dojo, like big time. And I love Class Dojo. The kids love Class Dojo. And are you familiar with it?
But I haven't used it, but I am familiar with it a little bit.
Well, one of the reasons I love it is because it helps to create a very positive environment in the classroom. You are continually finding ways to stay positive by reinforcing their good behavior. So you're constantly giving them points. It's like a point system for good things that they do instead of focusing on the negative. Because you can give negative dojo points, but I hardly ever do. I just try to always find the good ones, and they collect points. So once a month we have a big Class Dojo at the end of the month celebration in our grade on our team, and we have like a Class Dojo champion, and they can earn rewards, and they can be the first, second, third place winner, but they can also earn rewards based on how many points they get. So whether it be like a cool pencil or a sticker, we even have these really cool coupons that I also use, and it doesn't cost any money. That's why I like it. You can like get lunch with the teacher and free homework pass, or
nice.
sitting at the teacher's desk for the day. It's little coupons, like things like that mean way more than a piece of candy, I feel like, to them. Where it just really helped. They love that. They love getting those free choices. And so the coupons I also use for good grades. Like if they earn A's or B's, they can get. I give little fuzzy balls every good grade they get, like those little fuzzies you get at craft stores, and they can trade those in for my coupons. But as a third grade team, we also do Class Dojo Day.
Emily, that's great. I love all of your answers today so much. That's, to me, that is, and all the interviews I've had have been good, but the interviews that are good for substitute teachers are the ones where it's obvious you have a lot of things in place that are working, and it helps us to become better substitutes as well. So I appreciate that. Believe it or not, we're already almost out of time. Do you have any closing thoughts that you want to share with us before we get out of here?
No, I've loved all of your questions, and I was a little bit nervous, but you made it really easy to just share with you. And thank you.
Good.
So thank you. That's it. I can't really think of anything else.
Good. I appreciate it. I've made some notes here while you were talking, some things I want to try in the future, and I know a lot of the listeners to this will as well. So you and your family have the greatest of weeks, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you so much.
All right. See ya.
Bye.